All right, class, today we're going to talk about time to the 5 minutes, which is a really quick lesson because we've learned so much about time right now that I think you can get this super easy. So what does time to the 5 minutes mean? Well, we are going to tell our time every 5 minutes that the minute hand moves. So we're going to talk about the hour hand and we're going to talk about the minute hand. Remember, the hour hand is the shorthand. It is a shorthand for a short word, and the minute hand is a long hand for the long word minute. Our clock is going to go in a clockwise direction. It always moves forward. And we have talked about analog clocks, which is what this clock is, with a face and 2 hands. And we've talked about digital clock, which is like that clock, or the one I've drawn on the board, which has the 2 dots to separate the hour and the minute from each other. All right, so let's talk about time to the 5 minutes. So if this time we know is 3 o'clock, because when we come to the top, we don't say 60, that's how many minutes are in an hour when we're counting, but we change it to digital time, which are zeros at the end, and we write it in words as o'clock now. So this time is 3 o'clock. So if we were going to count the time in 5 minutes, so every 5 minutes, it's going to be like skip counting, counting our nickels, or just skip counting by fives, which we've learned way back in kindergarten. So we don't want to count every one of the little dots yet. We're going to stop on every large number around the clock, and we're going to say 5, and we're going to add a new 5 every time we go around. So let's try it. This is 3 o'clock. So if we jump over here to put the minute hand on the 1, what will this be? It will be 3. Remember, we always read the shorthand first. 3:05. Now, this is where this number is a little tricky because it only says 5. So why is it that we don't just write the number 3 for the hour and we just don't come over here and write 5? I mean, that makes sense. It's 3:05, right? Well, not exactly. When we tell time and we haven't gotten up to the bigger numbers yet, time always has 2 spaces for the minutes because it just does. It has 2 spaces. So it's kind of like when we have place value blocks and we have to leave a spot for this number that we're not actually going to say. So when we get to the 5, we're actually not just going to say 3:05. We're going to say 3:05, right? Let me change my 5 here. I forgot to give it a little hat on the top. So we're going to say 3:05. So before we get to a number that has 2 digits in it, we have to always put a 0 in front of it. We have to leave a spot for this digit just to make sure that we don't write it where it sounds funny. So 3:05 is when we're here. So it's 3 o'clock. Now it's 3:05. Let's jump to the next large number. What time do you think that one will be? You're right. We're going to say 3 because we are still closest to the 3 and we haven't gotten to the 4 yet. We're going to say 3, and now we're going to say 10. So we write that in digital. Now we have 2 spots, so we can use those 2 places for the digital time, and we can write 3:10. From now on, it won't be so tricky to write. Ready? Let's figure out, what time will this be? 3:15. After 15, when we jump by 5, we have 3:20. Still read the shorthand first, okay? Let's go 5 more minutes. Now we're on a 5, which is, we're counting by 5s. 3:25. Oh, we know this time because we already practiced time to the half hour. This is halfway between, so we say 3, and now it's 3:30, right? Move to the next large number. 3:35, because we count 30, 35. If you get lost and you don't have the blue dots and numbers around your clock or watch at home, you just start back up at the top and you can count it again. I do this all the time. I start at the top and I'm like, what time is that? I say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Oh yeah, 35. So it's 3:35. The next number, it's 3:40. All right, it's getting tricky. We had this in our quarter hour video earlier, and this one looks like it's really close to the 4. Do you see it? Why don't we say 4 now? Because it's actually touching part of the 4. Well, it is touching the very top of the 4, but until this minute hand is covering the 4 right through the middle, before this hour hand, sorry, before this hour hand is covering it all the way through the middle, we can't say 4 yet. We're still not there. Do you see how we're not even on the number 20 yet? We're still a little above it. So this is still 3, but now it is 45. Watch, it's going to get even closer, that hour hand. Let's go to the next one. It moved a little more, but it's still not quite there yet. Okay, so now it's still 3, 50, because we're on the 10. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Still 350. We're in the last little bit of the clock, so it's going to get really close. This hour hand's going to get really close to the 4 now. One more 5 minutes. So we stopped at 50. We're going to go to 55. So now it's 3:55. We are almost back up to the top. And the next one, do we say 3:60 now or 4:60? No, you're right. We say 4 and we change it to o'clock because we're going to start a new hour all over again. And we're going to keep going. So again, 5, 10, 15, 20. 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Okay, 60, we don't say 60 though, we say o'clock. All right, so be very careful when you go around the clock and it looks like you're getting really close to the next hour, but you are not quite there yet. You cannot say 6 because you aren't at the 6. You have to say the 5 because you just left the 5 earlier. So in this case, it would be 5. What would the time be? 5:40. Get lost? Count it again in 5s until you land there, and then you'll know how many minutes that is. All right, I hope this was helpful for today in learning how to count by 5-minute increments. Awesome. You're doing a great job. Keep it up.